Welcome to Gallant Conversations. Gallant is a business-to-business consultancy specializing in industrial innovation.
We drive growth for our clients through strategies and insights in brand management and strategic communications.
If you're in an industry focused on progress at the macro level, we're here to facilitate a conversation starting now. Hello, everyone. Today I have Joel Gray, who is the Vice President of Western Hemisphere for DTech Rotary Steerable. And they have got some very, very cool technology. And Joel has had a very interesting career as well. So I'm really excited to visit with you today. Thank you so much for coming out.
No, absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really look forward to this conversation. I think this is a great platform and really look forward to have this conversation.
Oh, excellent. Well, listen, we've got folks in across the board, really across the just industrial sectors. So we've got friends in the space industry, geothermal, upstream, downstream oil and gas, chemicals, the whole nine yards. What do you want to kind of let them know first and foremost about what rotary steerable systems are? Like, what is that? What are we talking about here?
No, absolutely. And honestly, great question, because especially those not familiar with the energy or drilling segment of our industry, could be somewhat foreign. As we live in a digital age and an age of technology, everything's about autonomy. Everything's about integrating. And that's from a foundational level. That is what Rotary Steerable does. If you think back historical or the beginning of oil and gas, it was vertical wells straight into a pocket of oil and voila. Mm-hmm. As we've continued to adapt with horizontal drilling, unconventional drilling, with fracking, everything like that. Essentially, Rotary Steerable is a directional drilling technology that mm-hmm. enables you to accurately and more autonomously steer a wellbore to the target, right? Mm-hmm. It can be done through multiple different ways, but Rotary Steerable time and time again has been proven to be the most efficient way of tackling X challenge in drilling, whether it be holding vertical, reducing tortuosity in intermediate, drilling a clean dog leg curve, straight lateral, 3D applications, et cetera. So really, it's just an additional piece of technology that enables operators or end users to execute that certain project more mm-hmm. efficiently, more accurately.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so if we're talking about like just kind of drilling, I mean, mm-hmm. we're talking about a piece of spaghetti going into a very, very hard rock, right? And you've got to make sure that you get it to the right spot. Does the tool, tell me how that works with the other kind of components?
Absolutely. And that's, the spaghetti reference. And we always like to
We've all heard that, right?
Yeah. And we always like to use the water hose reference, right? Most people have had dealings with a water hose, right? So stretch your water hose out as far as you possibly can and then try and steer it from the back. Mm-hmm. And that's quite literally what we do. And so imagine for that reference, you had something at the end of that would help you guide that hose mm-hmm. wherever you're trying to go. And so that is truly what we do. And so, from a conceptual standpoint, it's amazing. We're taking anywhere from 4.5 inch to 5.5 inch drill pipe, and we're drilling, 2 miles down and 2 miles sideways, right? And so, take that same water hose for that example and stretch it out 2 miles and trying to accurately do that. So DTech and Rotary Steerable in general provides a piece of technology to help guide you through that way. So that's, this part of this technology and on top of that, you'd mentioned the rock, right? Mm-hmm. So, we are doing this through, granite, sometimes through salt stones, through limestone, sandstones, and in which obviously also has a key, challenge within its own in terms of the amount of dynamics that it induces, whether that be high shock and vibration, whether that be different kind of drilling dynamics, inducing weight transfer challenges through that space. And so, like I said, Rotary Steerable, all of it is kind of designed from a foundational standpoint to address those challenges. The biggest thing to understand about Rotary Steerable and why it's such a growing space, but it's also such a challenging space. And, there's only, a handful of people in the world right now successfully doing it. It is the only component in our segment of the industry that is both electrical and mechanical. So, the challenges of that is obviously you have mud motor technology that's powering the drill string. That's purely mechanical. You have a drill bit with diamond cutters. That's what's cutting formation. You have measure while drilling equipment or logging while drilling equipment that's taking the measurement of that. Rotary Steerable sits right in the middle. So it's designed to truly steer and push the bit where it needs to go, for DTEC's case being a push the bit system, and then also accurately measure where we need to go autonomously. So, you're telling the tool where you need to be and how to get there, while also doing the steering itself.
And any tool, like you can use any bit, any MWD system, any.
No, absolutely. And that's a great question. So, as we live in a world of consolidation and integrated services and the importance of that and the value of that, but at the same time, we are humans of choice.
Right.
We don't like being we don't like being told what to do. And so DTEC, when we became founded as a company, the whole output and the focus of that was, let's provide a disruptive technology, both from a performance and economic standpoint, and partner with both service companies and operators to provide a service or enable what wasn't historically possible, right? Rotary Steerable has been around since late 90s, early 2000s, but it's been very focalized around major service providers, right? And as somebody who previously worked from those, there's certainly value that comes with that. But at the same time, as people of choice, sometimes we want the opportunity to do that. The biggest thing as far as DTEC, so we've seen significant growth through our success and our development over the last few years. And we've been able to carve our space in being the number one independent rotary steerable globally. And really what that means, from a really high level, right? We operate in 2 hemispheres, 6 continents, 18 different countries. That is a continuously growing space. And that's where we actively are operating. But, really as someone who broke out in the oil field in West Texas, we really like to measure success there as well, because I'm fortunate to meet with people all over the world. And that's where it all started for DTEC, was in West Texas. And if you can prove that you can successfully drill there, you can drill essentially anywhere else.
It's like that New York song.
Yeah.
If you can make it. Yeah. I'm going to stop.
Yeah. Absolutely. Keep going. Yeah. So Midland, Texas, New York. Same.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, exactly. But really, DTEC being an independent company in this sect, the nice thing though is we are owned and supported by our parent company, Scholler Blackman. And the relevance and the importance of that is, obviously they're a publicly traded company, a very large industrial manufacturing company themselves. They produce, probably, 60-70% of the industry's non-mag metal. So really what that does is that gives DTEC access to the leading material, the cutting edge machining, cutting edge manufacturing, as well as, strategic positioning as far as supply chain and things like that goes. But, what that, from an overarching standpoint, right, is yes, DTEC is viewed often as a smaller company in the industry, right, where 90 plus employees, office and headquartered here in Houston. We have our engineering and manufacturing facility in Bristol, UK. But our space and our scope is significantly larger, just of who's behind us, supporting us, and then as well as our sister companies. So DTEC's sister companies on the drilling technology space is Byco Mud Motors, DSI PBL circulation subs, as well as Wellbores on the completion side. So beyond being just a small company, we're able to synergize, to throw some corporate buzzwords in here, and really expand our outreach. And that's really been effective for us in terms of our global expansion, really enabling both rental and sales models across the world. If you look back, and especially as I've grown in my career, I've had the opportunity to, expand and now overseeing the Western Hemisphere, which is always sometimes strange to think about sometimes. But, the need for energy is continuously becoming more and more prevalent.
Absolutely.
That is not changing. And but with that is, what if that's saying is energy production and energy outlook is somewhat changing, right? And you mentioned geothermal. Obviously, as a drilling person, that is what we support, and that's kind of what we are really tackling today. We're in oil and gas, we're fighting consolidation and cash flow and financial things, as well as the energy diversification side of things. But when we boil it down to it, we want to drill wells,
right.
and we want to drill wells as fast and as efficiently as possible.
Of course.
And that's what's fun to be, I guess, on the cutting edge or the front end of Rotary Steerable, because it's a continuously growing market, regardless if rig count is growing or shrinking, because wells are not getting easier. We are continuously drilling larger tangents, unique wellbore designs, longer laterals. We're turning around and doing U-turn wells now. So back to the garden hose. Imagine going 2 miles out and then turning around and bring it right back to you, right? And so technology such as ours enables to do that. The way D-Tech approaches that, and the way we want to continue to do that, we continue to offer, on par or better in most applications to our competition. But how we approach the technology, we want to kind of stay with our foundational principles. That's being, practical, reliable, economic, universal in many ways. And I'll unpack that in a little bit. And universal in the fact that the way D-Tech wants to do it, kind of when we have found a recipe for success, and we kind of want to just maintain that because we have found that. But with that being said, the way the tool's design is very modular. And we were kind of drawing the analogy to cars earlier and being humans of choice. Everybody loves to get their car and put their own little spin on that. And being a modular technology, we're able to do that. So as we are going into energy diversification of geothermal, right, we have new challenges of temperature and hard rock granite. Absolutely. And so we're able to take that modularity of our tool and find custom solutions for our customers, right? Because at the end of the day, we are absolutely not in a one-size-fits-all industry. And our customers don't want that either. And so that is something that, being an agile, smaller company, we're able to adapt in those kind of markets. And in U.S. land, it's a challenging market right now, right? And so that's a big part of D-Tech that I'm very proud to be a part of.
Well, you're talking about this modularity of things, but it's not like you're dumping out a bunch of toys from the toy box and putting things together and seeing what works. It's a true calibration.
Yeah.
Tell people about this. Tell them about the algorithms and all the things that you're doing to make sure that this system that you're designing for this customer is going to work in this formation based on. Yeah. Take it away. Are you selling hardware, or are you selling brilliance?
I love that. You might want to trademark that. I wish it was as simple as Legos. I have a 5-year-old son, and that'd be great because, the sky's the limit from there. But no, absolutely. It's a very tactful, calculated approach to this. And what it comes down to, though, foundationally, being from sales and being in charge of execution now, is understanding our customers' need and understanding the challenges ahead of us, right? Is it drilling fast? Is it drilling far? Is it both? Is it, being able to withstand certain, road hazards, temperature pressures, et cetera. And so, really, as far as what has been a big foundational piece of D-Tech is, early on, we were still learning what we had to learn, and once we finally got to a good place of, hey, this is this is functional, this is repeatable, this is profitable. It's like, okay, how do we continue to expand upon that? And so, despite even being a smaller company, we really focus very heavily on being able to replicate downhole conditions in a controlled environment. So you talked about algorithms.
So just to be abundantly clear, folks that are listening, that is exceptionally difficult to do.
Yeah, no. And so thank you. I get passionate and I get on a tangent. And
No. Keep telling.
For the astronauts out there, right, I'd love to hear about y'all stuff. But anyway, like I said, DTEC's very focused on being able to replicate these challenges, conditions in a controlled environment, right? We talk about temperature. We have, rotational thermal dynamic testing. We have pressure testing. We have vibration testing. We have shock testing. And really what that's enabled us to do is create an algorithm that basically is not only predictive modeling for failures or damage to the tool, but also enhancing our technology as well, right? Historically, you would have abundance of opportunity to develop your technology downhole. But now as expectations are so high, there's very few opportunities to say, okay, well, we tried this, it didn't work. Let's try this and let's try this, right? Yeah. The leash to do that is significantly shorter. And so what that does is it gives us a venue or a space to really continue to push this on and to compound upon that, right? So the Middle East to Argentina to Canada to West Texas, everything has its own nuances, right? And so being a smaller adaptive company, we can take our lessons learned from, across the world and apply it here and vice versa. And being able to mimic those downhole conditions within our facility in a controlled environment has been such a significant differentiator for us as in terms of growth, in terms of where we stand in perceptions of our customers, et cetera. And so that's a big part of just when we go down to the foundational level of performance and reliability. But it's also a big portion of development. DTEC takes the approach, like I said, of being universal, but also it's so important to understand KPIs and the expectation of the customer. And so we try to develop our technology and keep our technology and development roadmap aligned with those and being able to quickly execute that. I've been very proud of DTEC and in the 6 years I've been here now, right? We've introduced, we're the first truly fit for purpose tool for 7/7/8 hole size, right? And so true niche in the market, there was a gap and we were able to go to tackle that and capitalize, right? Talk about real-time communications. So understanding what's going on downhole with the tools and really having a true diagnostics of performance and optimization with going on that. And so really our focus is understanding the customer's need. How does that fit in our space, whether our standard technology is a fit for purpose for that, or is there something we need to go and continue to develop upon that? And so that's something that, in today's market and really the future of oil and gas and or drilling, I think is going to continue to be imperative.
Interesting. Yeah. Especially, it's a crazy time. So let me understand something. So you seem like the type of guy that is an operations sales people person with the mind of an engineer. Talk to me about that.
Well,
What's that about?
Keep giving me the credit. Perception's reality. So if I got you fooled, that'll work. No, not an engineer. I, as a human, just am very intellectually curious. I want to know as much as I can know about everything that I want to know about, right? And that's, So and honestly, that's where my role is now. And I'm thankful for that, is kind of get to sit right in the middle, right? I get to sit in really complex, deep dive engineering meetings that I have no business being in. And then I get to do where my background is, truly of being a previous salesperson. And so, I think, I pride myself to be in that space. And like I said, if I got you fooled, that's great. But really, like I said, I think that comes with just understanding what is expected of us right now, right? We sell and operate a very complex tool, right? And so the expectation of who we are and the message we have to bring has a higher expectation. And so it took a lot of learning, a lot of conversations for those, salespeople. You got to hear no a lot of times to understand the hot button topics and what are those key points. But really, like I said, being an independent, right? There's there's a lot of things going for you in the fact that you can really specialize and focus on what you're going on. But the downside of that is you're not the only seat at the table. And so what might be good for us might not be beneficial for somebody else and somebody else and somebody else. And so really you have to sit down and focus on that collaboration and really focus on what do we all need to do collectively to accomplish the goal, right? Is that drilling fast? Is that withstanding hard formation or whatever that might be? And so that is a unique side of being an independent is because I miss sometimes the days of just being like, all right, this is the way we're going to do it, you know? We're just one piece of the puzzle. And it's good because
you're
again,
crafting something. And
we
if
get
you're
to be
naturally
very good at
curious,
it. We get to be very good at it. But you also have to be cognizant of everything else on the horizon.
Well, and the good thing about, I would have said, years ago, I would have said oil and gas because that was my background. But I would say the energy industry at large is a teaching industry. Absolutely. So, gosh, you landed in the best one for somebody that's just naturally curious.
Well, thank you. I challenge you, though, and I'm passionate about energy because there's nothing we do or touch that doesn't involve that. And I think we've just done such a poor job branding ourselves. And,
I think you're right.
And such a PR problem, and I think we need to do a better job of helping people understand the importance of what we do. We're always viewed as the bad guys until gas is $10 a gallon and, your electric bill's $1,000 a month or whatever. And I think that's part of it. And I'd spread this as going into energy diversification that we need to do a better job of helping people understand from a marketing and PR standpoint, how important what we do at the foundation of it, like how important of everything we do. I mean, when you boil it down, we take a hunk of metal and we produce the most important resource on the globe right now, maybe outside of water, and so it's pretty amazing to do that.
You can't produce water without power.
Exactly.
So this is the thing that I think people need to just wrap their head around generally. If you continue to demonize the oil and gas industry, we are not going to get there quicker.
No.
We are not going to get there quicker. We've got to make sure that especially, drilling professionals have that seat at the table, especially if we're going to make geothermal happen, which we are.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's just so much brilliance in that space. There's so much creativity and, it's given us such a gift of safety, a gift of clean water, a gift of medicine, and all these things that we don't necessarily think about. And I do think though, and tell me if you disagree, because I've been in this industry for a long time, and so in 2008 I jumped on this I'm going to change the perception of the industry, and so this has been a long time. This conversation of we've had bad PR, and then you've got API spending millions of dollars on a branding. Everybody knows plastic is from oil and gas. Everybody knows that. Okay, but let's focus on the core of the again, water. You can't have it without it. Don't you think that the majors and super majors and even the independents are doing a better job of getting that seat at the table? Do you feel like they're being less demonized? I feel it, but I don't know. Maybe.
And I feel like there's a little bit of a shift, fortunately, ongoing.
Finally,
right?
Yes.
It took, and I'm not going to say as an independent, right? But it took a focal shift, right? And instead of being abrasive to energy diversification, it's let's accept this and where do we fit, right? At the end of the day, right, from DTech, we want to drill a hole in the ground and
safely,
efficiently, and profitably, right?
And profitably, yes.
And that is, you talk about that is, let's take 150 years of experience and knowledge, and let's apply that. And that's such a, I think, again, it's fortunately shifting in terms of how do we make this work, right? And because there's no my way or the highway anymore, right?
Right.
I mean, the global pressures, the capital markets wanting to invest in this, and it's time. So you kind of got to get on board, but at the same time, as you said, like, we still need oil and gas, and I'm proud to say that I still am a part of this, and I'm a small part of it, right? But I think that's we all just kind of got to put our guard down a little bit and say, all right, so how are we gonna do this, right? And so I think that, again, it's starting to happen, and I hope it continues to do so, right? And so, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, great. Well, listen, I really appreciate you being here with me today. I loved the conversation. What do you want people to just remember about DTech, number one, and number two, like kind of that path of like, I'm in this operational sales world, but I'm also like very exacting and precision oriented. Like, what does those are two big questions. But.
No, I appreciate that. I'll start. Don't love talking about myself anyway,
Okay,
so I'll start with DTech.
I'm like, I'm going to be nosy.
Yeah, no, and keep poking and prodding. I'm sure you can see me just nervously fidgeting over here. Really, as far as DTech goes, like you said, we are fighting an uphill battle, but it's a fun one to be a part of, being in such an adaptive space and a growing space. But from us foundationally, we want to provide a efficient, economical, autonomous piece of equipment, and that's going to continue to continuously adapt, and that's maybe to go back on a tangent here, but. What's kind of cool about this is there's no end goal, right? There's just always get better. Yeah. And I don't know if there's anything really anymore that's going to be, hey, we're content now. And that's just kind of why I align really well with DTech, is like complacency and mediocrity are like the number 1 and 2 things that just drive me crazy, right? Like at the end of the day, like we always got to be focused on, how do we make this better? How do we make this more efficient? How do we make this more profitable? How do we, et cetera, et cetera? And so love to be a part of that. But like I said, we are a piece of directional drilling technology that continues to adapt, continues to improve and customize to our customers' needs. For myself, I do think that what is cool, and like I said, I'm just fortunate to be in the position I'm in, because I also oversee energy diversification for DTech. So I'm sitting in engineering meetings, I'm sitting in sales and operations, and now taking on this task, and it's just been a good avenue for me to continue to learn and drive my career. And really appreciate you having me on today. I was getting nervous when we say, all right, we're gonna have a podcast. Nobody loves to hear themselves talk, and so I really appreciate you providing this platform for me.
Thank you so much. Come by again at any time.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for joining this conversation with Gallant.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained meaningful insight.
If you find this entertaining or helpful, subscribe and leave us a review.
And don't forget to share this conversation with your network.
For more resources and to stay updated with Gallant Insights and our amazing client portfolio companies, visit gallantculture.com.
Join us next time as we continue to explore perspectives within the industrial innovation space propelling us forward.
Until then, we ask you to stay thoughtful and curious.